Whoopi.
Yes?
Tell me a little bit about when you were a kid. Was there a lot of humour in your household?
Yes, but I didn't know that's what it was. Because my mother had a cousin, and they would do different dialects and talk as different people to each other. And I just thought that everybody did it. And my brother was very witty, very, very witty. And then I guess when I got a little bit older, they all sort of became human, you know, and sort of dumped all this stuff in me. But I never thought of, I ran away a lot, so.
Oh, you physically ran away?
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Because I was just kind of there, you know, I was just kind of there. And I looked odd, and I was just a little bit strange, and I had dyslexia. So I was just sort of a beat off of everything. So I spent a lot of time like this.
And then you came back each time, presumably, did you?
Well, I got a little closer. I haven't completely come back.
You're still on the run?
Still on the run.
And have you got lots of brothers and sisters?
One brother.
Okay.
Called Clyde.
Okay.
Isn't that a cool name?
It's a great name.
And he's the one who walks down the street, it's like you hear, dun, 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 Clyde. Dun, dun, dun. He's just the coolest guy I know.
And he's funny?
He's very dry now. He's become very dry, but you really don't want to upset him because he has the tongue of a razor blade. Okay. And you're like, oh, let me put my head back on, I'm bleeding.
Did you perform inside the family? Were you ever kind of amusing everybody at home?
No, the only thing I ever did was read acceptance speeches for the Oscar. That's all. That was my thing, is every year everyone was subjected to my thanking people. You know, I just kind of watched everybody. I was very observant as a kid. I watched a lot.
When you were doing your acceptance speeches, people were laughing, presumably, inside the house?
Yes.
And did you love that?
Well, I don't think I did. I think I wanted them to take me much more seriously than they seemed to be taking me. But I know that I was making acceptance speeches for just the idea of being in the movies and accepting things. And when I talk to them now, they said, well, they knew that this was the path I was going to go on, because I'd never name any movie in particular. I just thanked people for letting me win. So I left myself a lot of space.
Yeah, good. Well, it's worked.
Yes.
You predicted a good future.
Yes.
And when you went to school, were you chosen to be in plays or anything like that?
I was in a couple of plays when I was littler, like in the first grade, you know, the obligatory teacup.
Yeah.
And the teapot kind of thing. But I was really shy, I think, you know, because I didn't feel I could really keep up with people, because, you know, people were reading and doing this, and I wasn't.
Did you feel different then?
Oh, yeah.
In what way?
I felt I wasn't as on the ball as everybody else. I felt other people knew things that I didn't. But what I realized as I became an adult is that all the things I thought I wasn't getting, I was absorbing in a different way, you know, so it made the dyslexia not so bad, because, you know, 50 years ago, they didn't have a name for it.
Yeah.
So it was just you were in a slow class. So,
yeah.
You know, I spent a lot of my youth thinking, oh boy, I'm really slow, but discovering that I wasn't, that I was just differently abled.
Yeah.
You know. It sounds good now, but then it, you know, all I wanted to be was like everybody else.
Yeah.
I also went to a Catholic school, Irish Catholic school.
Did you?
Yeah. So.
How did that happen?
Well, because, you know, it's New York. You
Okay.
got St. Patrick's, and I went to St. Columba. So there, you know, I was doing all the Irish jig dances and stuff for St. Paddy's Day. You know, I didn't know I wasn't Irish.
When you went to senior school?
Didn't.
Oh, you didn't go to senior school at
No.
all? What were you doing then?
Let's see. I wandered
On the
out
run.
on the run,
Yeah.
trying and experimenting with lots of different things. So I spent time in the street as opposed to on the street at a period when it was okay, because everyone was, you know, playing bongos. We were walking around. You could making love in the middle of Central Park, just all kinds of things. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
But when I started in 9th grade, I think I spent about 8 days in ninth grade.
Really?
And had to get out. Yeah, some kids are meant for the structure and need it. I couldn't handle it. And my mom was smart enough to say, okay, this means you're going to have to work 8 times as hard to figure out what you want to do and how you want to do it. So I spent years just learning on the streets. I did lots of drugs. Some were interesting, some were not. Some lasted longer than others. But in the big picture, I think no one else can have that experience past 1979. That experience disappeared in the world. Yeah. To survive it, you can't survive it now.
But do you think that anybody who knew you then, would they have described you as a funny person?
No. Weird. Just very weird.
Okay.
Yeah, because they do it now. They go, you know what? You were weird.
Yeah. And wait, you said you were shy as a little kid. Do you think, are you still shy?
Yes. That's why I live in the middle of nowhere. I live on top of a mountain.
Yeah.
You know. But I can handle things in certain contexts. That's why I can perform. I'm happy to perform. I could do that, and that's my social time. That's when I'm the most social. I could meet a lot of people at one time, and then I don't have to see anybody for like 9 months. And I've gotten a little bit better because I come out for longer periods.
Yeah, but obviously you're very protective of your very rich inner life that you've got.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah. If only that were it.
If only that were the truth. I just don't have people skills. I'm good at a certain level, but if there are too many people, I really can't handle it.
Are you a grumpy person then?
No. I turned 50 about 2 weeks ago. I got grumpier after that.
Can I ask you, when you were little, can you remember what made you laugh?
Phyllis Diller. I love Phyllis to this very second. I would bite her toes.
I believe she's still doing it. She's
still
there with the mic and excellent.
It's the best.
Excellent.
It's the best. And Moms Mabley, who just didn't care. Do you know Moms?
No, I don't.
She's a black comedian. She always dressed as an old woman. She had been doing it since she was 25 and always dressed as an old woman, and she sounded like this. She would say, there's nothing an old man could do for me except bring me a message from a young man. Or she'd say, Mike, that old man I was married to, he's dead. Good. And people would say to me, well, Moms, you can't say nothing like that. You got to say something sweet when you said, that sweet old man that's dead, he's dead. Good. She was terrific. And she was unusual because she was the only one. The only one. And I really can't remember anybody until the 70s or 80s who had come along who was a comedian.
Tell me a little bit about those who've inspired you.
But, the biggest influencers, really, the biggest of all, were Richard Pryor. And then, there's a whole slew of other people like Lily Tomlin and Robin. Robin is an influence. Williams is an influence on me as well. But really, the major influence was Richard.
And when you saw Richard, you thought, I know I could do that, or I want to be like that?
I want to say those things he's saying. I want to talk about these things.
Okay.
And I didn't ever think that I would veer from the straight actor roles. I never thought I would. Because being a comic to me meant you had to be able to tell jokes. And nobody can ruin a joke better than me. I just go all out of control with it because I like telling stories, so I embellish. A joke needs to be like that. Boom, ha ha ha, next joke. So funny never occurred to me. But then the older I got and the more I saw how Richard did it, I thought, I can do that. I can tell stories. And they might be all right.